How well do you know yourself? Do you understand your own actions and the repercussions from them? Are you aware of your likes, your dislikes, what stimulates you, what motivates you? Do you understand why or how you become reactive? Do you know what you're good at? Do you know what you're bad at? Have you ever really tried to find out? Can you explain why you're in current situations, circumstances? Do you understand how things came to be, how you manifested it to fruition? Can you get yourself out of a mental loop, out of a rut? Do you know how to problem solve? Do you understand how to get yourself from point A to point B, mentally or physically?
Life is like a video game, and we've been playing it wrong. Due to societal expectations, traumas, fears, anxieties, depression, we've been basically shit on, and we basically don't know how our brain operates. And I've been a victim of it. I basically suffered major anxiety as a kid. As soon as I realized I couldn't control death, sickness, disease, and basically anything out of my control, I basically lost my mind because I had a mental issue, but I was doing physical coping mechanisms, and those two don't correlate. So for years I couldn't sleep. For years I couldn't understand why I had these thoughts, and I couldn't control them. And then that led to other issues in my life, such as body dysmorphia, and then eventually having addictions to weed, to numb myself, to calm my mind. And it wasn't until I became aware of my thoughts that I took a different approach. I started being present and understanding that I am not my thoughts, and I get to choose what comes into my mind and what leaves my mind and what has access to me. And when I did this, I started to also gain successes, such as become a fitness model, doing photo shoots. I ended up playing representative rugby league in my youthful years. I ended up becoming really good in the gym and setting up in-person businesses, online coaching businesses, and basically changing thousands of people's lives. And I've learned so many lessons, and I've gained so many skills that I don't want to gatekeep, and that I want to show you guys that you can live a life fulfilled by beating the bosses, overcoming your trauma, and leveling up your character. So today we're going to be going over 1 through 9 lessons that I have learned to overcome all the issues in my life. And even though I'm still learning and adapting, I feel like this can help others out there. So as long as it can help at least one soul, I'm doing my job. So let's get to it. Lesson 1, understanding your trauma and where it comes from. Now, majority of the time we are exposed to a new experience. When that new experience occurs, usually in our childhood, but can happen at any point in our lives, we have an emotional reaction based off the first time doing something. So for instance, let's say when we're younger and we go to school for the first time and someone says a mean word to us, or they start heckling us or bullying us, we will associate going to a new place or starting a new job or doing anything new in a new environment as scary, and we're in fear of judgment. Now, that's not every environment, but due to us having a bad first-time experience, we are now going to associate having a traumatic response to every new environment we go into based on our first experience. And you and I both know that we can have two perspectives on that. We can have a perspective on that was just a one-time thing where we went to an environment and we were heckled and we were bullied at a young age due to the other kid having own insecurity and traumatic issues himself through his own home life, and him just taking it out and projecting it on you. Or we could think that we're going to get bullied everywhere we go, and we are going to be judged everywhere we go. But the human mind also wants to be correct. So if things are first thoughts before they're physical, if we set the expectation just like a regular person hates their normal Monday because it's the start of the work week again, guess what? Every Monday they have, they're going to fucking hate it. So instead, we've set the thought that every new environment we go into, we're going to be judged, bullied, or heckled. And then the human mind really loves being correct. So the more we look for it, just like if I say, let's go outside and look for a red car, and you're going to constantly be looking for a red car as we're driving or moving around, you're going to see the red car. You're not even going to see the blue or the orange or the purple car. You're just going to be solely focused on the red. And just like the human mind setting an expectation for itself, whatever environment we then go into, we are going to expect to be bullied, to be shit on, and to be judged. So, understanding that every point in our life, every resistance we have within our own minds has come from a first-time experience that we deem traumatic. And the only way we can fix that is by looking back, connecting the dots, and understanding where it all stems from. Now, understanding that we have a choice and understanding that we can move forward really moves into my next lesson here. But understand your trauma, know where it's come from. It could be from your parents. It could be they had issues with money growing up. So now you think that money is hard to make. Now, if you think money is hard to make, guess what? You're not going to find ways or even think of ways of finding money easily. And there are plenty of people out there who are rich, who are affluent, and who are living financially free. So if they can do it, why can't you? And why can't I? So a lot of our first thoughts come from our parents and then also come from our childhood experiences. Now, if you don't fix them now, they're going to trickle into every part of your life, and you're going to mistrust yourself here and doubt yourself here, and you're going to create a shitty character. So our best bet is to get on it early, understand the trauma, look back, fix, connect the dots, and then guess what? Our character is one level better, one attribute higher, and we're a happier, better version because of it. And now this is not a one-time thing. You're going to consistently have to remind yourself, because you put your body in a habit, to unfuck yourself. You must think differently, and you must understand where the trauma came from, and that you don't have to have that perspective, because your body is like a wild animal, and it's gonna try and fight you every time because you're taking it out of its natural habit and routine that it has formed over years and years of habits, years and years of thinking you're broke and money is hard to make, years and years of thinking that people hate you and are constantly judging you. So to fix that habit, you have to constantly fight it and battle it until it can see the latter, until it can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm telling you, I was in that same situation. I thought that everywhere I went, people would hate me for my own insecurities, that I had an ugly face or that I had a pointy nose. And when I went to the shops, I used to be like, don't look at me from the side. And now I don't give a fuck, because at the end of the day, I had set that expectation from one traumatic experience going through high school, people thinking that I had an ugly face and an ugly nose. And now, being older, I've realized that not everybody is going to attack me for my looks, and I'm not that special, and no one actually gives that much of a fuck about me. And people are dealing with their own traumas and issues. And even those in high school or in school in general who say were bullying or harassing or heckling me for that issue had their own insecurities that they were dealing with, and they were just projecting it on me. So understanding how the whole thought and belief system came to be, and knowing that you can choose to think differently, leads me into lesson number 2, is that you have a choice. Things don't have to stay the way that they are. Now, I hate hearing people say, this is just how I am, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I can't change it, I don't care, I'm stubborn. Those type of people, I hate. Not really, but I actually feel sorry for them, because they deep down, they know that they can change, but they've associated something negative, right? A negative experience with their identity, and they've created a belief system on that. And now that that's their personality, them losing that is a scary feat. And they feel like they are powerful being negative towards themselves and it not serving them or others in any regard. Now, if you have issues with money, guess what? You need to figure out how to resolve that. You have to realize that money is easy to make, right? Not hard to make, and that you can make money through your love and your passion for whatever you want to do with life. And you also need to understand that if you were bullied, heckled, or harassed when you were younger, that you can take the steps necessary to learn to love yourself. You can understand that they were also projecting on you from their own states of vulnerability, right? Causing you to feel these issues. And if you're struggling with addictions and bad habits, again, you can take the necessary steps to take yourself out of that environment, go overseas, start a new job, stop hanging out with certain friends in order to overcome and stop those issues. Now, we always have a choice to be better, but if we keep repeating the same habits, just like Einstein said, doing the same things and expecting a different outcome is literally insanity. Do you think we're really going to get a different outcome? No. Okay? So, if you can change, which you can, you need to start changing your belief systems. But the way you start changing your belief systems is through making actions towards a different outcome. And it may feel scary and you may be confused at first and it may be uncomfortable, but you already know how it feels to live the current life that you're living, to have poor money issues, to not like yourself and to be afraid of judgment. So what do? You start going to the gym. You start focusing on your diet. You start understanding how money actually works. You start understanding how you got an addiction in the first place and what outcome does it keep giving me. All right, I keep getting some short-term gratification. I get high, I feel a bit woozy, I feel relaxed. Great. Now I've done it for a month. Now I've done it for a year. Now I've done it for a few years. All right, great. You know the outcome, and the max high you're going to get is feeling a little bit woozy and relaxed and having different thoughts. Is that realistically creating a life that you wish you have? Is that the life that you seek? Is this who you want to be, or do you want more? Because if you're unhappy, again, you have the choice to change it. So I would start taking steps, like for instance, I struggled with having a weed addiction, so I went overseas for a month. So I couldn't get access to it. I focused on having wholesome moments with my family, understanding reality, looking into history, and realizing that as soon as you don't have access to something and you're taken out of your environment, it's very easy to change and it's very easy to get over an addiction. And when I came back, I struggled to my normal environment. I struggled for 3 days, but I knew I'd come too far to go back. And I'd seen how good life was on the other side. And all it took was me to be 1 month clean and 1 month sober from weed. And I saw how much better my life was. My thoughts were clearer, my mind was healthier, I was more effective, I could get up earlier, I could work harder, and I loved just the way my brain was working and operating. And seeing the other side, when I came back, I knew I wasn't going to go back to smoking weed in my normal environment. So I started creating, guess what? New habits and patterns that led me to creating another version of myself and the person that I want to become and who I want to be. And I changed that with still being childlike. So when I smoked weed, that was my numbing time, that was my switching off during the daytime. And it became so bad because obviously I became addicted to it. And I started smoking throughout all my days. It was making me tired, it was making me late for my clients, and it was making me an inefficient businessman and athlete. And that's not what I wanted, and I lived with guilt. So I took myself out of that environment, overcame it, came back, created new habits for my relaxing time, became childlike in other ways, started watching anime, started playing video games, but also put a time limit on it, created parameters so that I didn't overstep my boundaries, so that I could still get up, still do the tasks that needed to be done to create the life that I seeked and to become the main character of my story. And so at the end of the day, if you're not making educated actions and changes within your life, you're going to be stuck as the same person you've been for the last few years. And you and I both know if you're not liking that, guess what? You need to start taking steps in a different direction. Discipline makes you a disciple to the real you. You must set habits and routines that are different from what you have been doing and keep it consistent in your 24/7 routine in order to see the outcomes that you are seeking. Because all we ever have is the present moment. And if presently you can't get your shit together, how are you going to have control over your life and control over your destiny and know where you're moving if you don't know what you're putting in your mouth, when you're putting it in your mouth, right? As well as when you're doing your activity, when you're getting your training in, right? When you're doing your work, when you're working on the business as well as in the business, if you don't have a schedule put together that allows you to coherently, progressively overload every little bit of your life, you're going to stay in the same spot as you have been and as I have before. So what I recommend, start setting up your calendar, right? Set your calendar up basically every day. Make it the first thing you do each day. Or be even better, set up your 7 days in advance. And basically slot out the times that you need to eat, you need to train, you need to work, you need to meditate, you need to have fun. And then stick to those parameters. If you state you've got to do this for 2 hours, do it for 2 hours. And then once the 2 hours has eclipsed, move on to the next thing. Don't dilly-dally, don't stay in it, don't create poor time management issues, don't create other issues and other bad habits that we're trying to unfuck. You know what I mean? Because if you start making promises to yourself and keeping a registry in your calendar and getting shit done, you're going to start building more confidence within yourself and trust that you can create the life of your dreams. And I'm telling you, if you did this for even a week or two, you're going to see major differences in your life. You're going to have less anxiety because you now are controlling the narrative of your life and you're not freaking out about what's going to happen next. And you're not just being blown in the wind. No, you are a sailor sailing the seas of life, and you are creating the life that you seek and moving towards that destination. And if you get that 24/7 routine correct, it's amazing, because guess what? We don't have the past nor the future. All we have is the present moment. And make sure you do input time to have fun and to relax, because it's not all about work, and systems. You must have fun still, and you must enjoy the process, because if you're not having fun in life and enjoying life, why the fuck are you doing it? And I got lost in that point. I got lost at that in one point in my life, because I used to just think that I had to suffer for success, hustle and grind, suffer for success. But I was miserable and I wasn't getting the outcomes that I seeked. And I was like, what the fuck, why? And then I realized that you can still do the work, but the attitude and intention behind doing the work doesn't have to be hard, suffering, or negative. You can have fun with it. You can do it in your own way and get a different outcome and a result just due to the fact that your attitude is different. And I realized that a lot with my own comp prep. I used to think that I must suffer, I must kill myself, I must starve more, I must train more. And I was just causing inflammation. I was having swollen ankles and issues because I was overtraining, overworking, undereating, and undersleeping. And I thought, yeah, more is better. And more isn't better. It's doing the correct process to get the correct outcome. And the process I was doing wasn't giving me the outcome I seeked. So I had to change it. And I realized, like I said before, thoughts become things. So if my thoughts were positive, fun, and understanding, well, guess what's gonna manifest in front of me? Fun, happiness, positivity. Because beforehand it was suffer, and I was getting suffer, you still look like shit. So understanding all we have is the present moment and creating that disciplined lifestyle where you still have that bit of spontaneous fun and excitement, because life isn't meant to be hard. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be an experience. And work doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun, and you can choose the intention you have behind the work. And this is what's great about creating your own schedule, working for yourself, and building your own life, is that you get to create it all, you know? And I'd be creating it whilst having fun and being who I want to be and getting to where I need to get to. And that leads me into lesson 4. Solitude has the answers. Now, you can't get ahead in life if you're distracted by the crowd. Nobody is going to understand your dreams, your goals, and your ambitions. And no one really knows what it takes to be successful. And everyone's running a different race. So how can someone else be the best you? They fucking can't be. And if you're trying to be the best you have to create a life and a system that allows you to achieve that business goal, achieve that life of freedom, achieve that perfect partner, and find success in the areas that you deem successful for yourself. And if people are constantly nagging you and talking to you and telling you that we should hang out and we should do this, and it's not serving you, and if they're constantly giving their opinion to you, and again, if it's not serving you, and if they're wasting time, because time is pretty precious. Like, you start work on a Monday and life goes so quick, and then it's Friday evening and you're like, what the fuck? I got 2 days break and we're back again on Monday. That's how regular people live. Every day for me is basically the same, but you understand what I'm saying. Life is quick and time is precious. And if people are not doing things that are help motivating you to achieve the life you desire, guess what you got to do? You got to go into solitude. Because when you're not distracted, when you are not ingesting shitty information, and I'm talking about like, when I go into solitude, I don't doom scroll Instagram. I don't look at other individuals and see what they're doing with their life. I don't check in much with my mates. I don't check in much with my family, but I will touch base every now and then. And what I've realized though by being so alone is that you get so much more shit done. You get to understand who you are, you get to create who you are, and you get to set different expectations for your life. And it's so much more peaceful when you're alone. It's not even lonely because you get to live the life of your dreams. You can start taking action without feeling judged, without feeling guilty, without people putting their opinion on you towards your goals and your dreams. And I've really loved being alone because I get to ask the universe, God, a higher power, however you want to take that, questions. And then through my personal experience, God just sends me all these answers, floods me with all these feelings of emotion. And I feel so much more wholesome and better in myself. And I'm a better person to even my friends and my family when I'm solely focused on making my life and their lives better. Because if you start taking action and making your life better, and obviously pulling away from your friendship circles a bit and your family a bit, not completely, but you still touch base, but you're pulling away from them, you find peace in gaining successful habits and routines, which then in turn they all see. And when everyone else sees that you are leveling up, that you are becoming more successful in the person that you want to be, it inspires them to take action in their own life and for them to stop dilly-dallying around and for them to finally become at peace with themselves. So you're actually killing two birds with one stone. Whilst you are going into solitude and working on your self habits and routines, they get to see that you've become a better person, which then in turn inspires them to, focus on their life, stop doom scrolling social media, stop not believing in themselves, stop freaking out about certain things, stop hanging out with certain people, and to take accountability for their own actions in their life. And you're basically just creating a community of successful individuals amongst the people you actually care about, your friends and your family, those that know you best and are closest to you. So when they see you start making all these positive changes in your life, guess what? They make the same positive changes. And they're not upset with you because you've left them for a little bit. No, they're inspired because they can see that you're trying your best to become the version of yourself that you want, and you're becoming the main character of your story, and it allows them to become the main characters of their story. So then that leads me into our next lesson. No one cares more about you than yourself. Family, friends, work colleagues, all the different environments that we associate with. Those individuals, they may care about us on a spectrum, but they're not going to care about you more than you. And at the end of the day, if you're the person that must take control over your life to find success, to find out who you are, and to know where you're going, a lot of those individuals can hinder that. And it's not because they want to hinder you, but it's because if we don't deal with our baggage, if we don't deal with our traumas, with our own personal experiences and the bad habits we have in our own lives, that can bleed onto other people. And everyone's running a different race and everyone's journey is slightly different. But if we don't have control over them, well, then we just have to distance ourselves from them in order to fix our shit, right? So that we can become the person that we wish to be. And it's not about feeling guilty, and it's not about, disowning people, and it's not about being angry that people don't give a fuck about us, but it's just the reality of it. All those individuals care more about themselves than they do you. And when none of us are really that special, we're all the same. And if people are holding you back and you're not liking where you are in life, well, you need to realize that their opinion doesn't really matter, and that it's not the end of your story, and that you can keep pushing forward, adapting and overcoming. So understand that no one cares about you as much as yourself, and even though they may offer great opinions and advice, no one's going to do the work for you. And if anything, they're going to hinder you from that work. So I like to live by this quote also. If they haven't achieved what I want, or they're not in the same field of work that I do, or that I'm trying to achieve something at, there's no need to listen to their opinion. Now, I know nothing about cars. So if you came to me and you asked me, like, Mitch, like, what's the best type of car for performance? I would say, honestly, I have no fucking clue. But if I went and asked the mechanic, that's his field of work. He understands engines, he understands the motors, he understands the performance aspects of it. They can give you a better source of information than some random dude named Mitch on the street. So no one cares about you more than yourself. Their opinions, their judgments don't mean shit, and only take advice from those that you are trying to gain attributes from, or are wishing to live a life that they are currently living. Lesson 6, find and master your craft. Now, you realistically only need to be good at one thing in life. And as soon as you're good at one thing in life, that trickles into every other aspect of your life. Now, for me, it was bodybuilding, health and fitness, but I didn't realize my purpose without understanding my pain. Now, I hated my body. I had body dysmorphia. I didn't take my clothes off in front of anyone for years, but through beating down my pain, through overcoming it and that trauma, I realized that I can show others how to live in their own skin and love themselves. And then from there, my purpose has grown even bigger to understand how the mind works, and that you can actually choose your thoughts, you can choose your life, and you can love the mind that you have. And then again, it's grown even bigger again into spirituality. And now my purpose, I believe, is creating a system where the spirit, the mind, and the body in all planes of existence are harmonized, and a person can be the best version of themselves in every reality. And to do that, you need to understand how to master one craft first. So mine was the human body, health, fitness, how to build muscle, how to get rid of sicknesses and diseases, and how to take care of yourself. And through doing this since I was 14, I'm now 26, for the last 12 years, I've accumulated so much knowledge. And the more knowledge that I've gained, the more I've realized I know nothing. And there is so much more knowledge to keep consuming and understanding, which keeps it fun. But finding your craft, you'll find that through pain. So what pains you have in your life, please start hacking away at them. Please start overcoming all the insecurities that you have, because one of them will lead you to your purpose. And then that purpose is going to help the rest of us, and it's going to allow you to shine brightest. And then the education that you learn from your purpose, you are going to trickle that into how you handle your relationships, how you handle your mental health, how you handle your fun times and your holidays, how you handle basically every little aspect of your life, from brushing your teeth to settling a business deal. And it's the most beautiful thing, because you don't have to learn everything. You just have to learn one thing really well, and everything else basically runs on that same system with different variables in between. So master your craft through understanding your pain, and your purpose will be revealed to you. Which leads us to our next lesson. Thoughts become things. Now, if you've understood this little video so far, everything is first a thought. Everything in front of us, the laptop, the table, this vase thing, the room, the roof, the floor, someone thought about it before writing it down, putting it in a computer system, generating the product, and then putting it piece by piece like Legoland all together to create something in front of us. It all started in the mind. Now, emotion, energy in motion, a thought itself is weak, but an emotional thought has charge, okay? And the emotion comes from either the positive or the negative spectrum. And as I was saying before, if the intention and the attitude behind doing the work is negative, you're going to get negative outcomes. You're going to get negative information coming into your reality, which isn't going to serve you or give you the outcome that you seek. So you must do that same work, but with positively energized emotions behind those thoughts. So for instance, when it comes to my comp prep, I used to think that I had to suffer to be successful. The more pain, the more gain. And actually, that's not correct, because doing too much doesn't lead you to the outcome that you seek. Doing the correct process does. Now, I pulled back, and when I started pulling back from doing excessive cardio, 20,000 plus steps a day, when I pulled back from overly starving myself and I added in a little bit more food, I took in more rest, because guess what? You only grow when you rest, and you only grow when you're still. Same sort of thing. You don't know where you're going if everything's noisy, but when you're still, the path is clear. And if you're doing too much and you're not getting the outcome that you seek, well, guess what? You got to start pulling back, because rest is where the muscle grows. So incorporating all of these newfound understandings and understanding that I'm allowed to have fun with the process led to my body not being swollen, led to my muscles becoming fuller and bigger, led to better workouts in the gym, a better representation of my physical self, and an overall better mental state, because I realized that I can do the same amount of work but have fun with it, instead of thinking that I had to suffer to get the outcome that I seeked and I didn't get it anyway. So knowing that at first it's a thought and then it's physical, and guess what? If you think more work is better, everything in your own world has already manifested. That's why it's here currently. And if you seek to live in a different reality and the better version of yourself, it all starts in thinking and being before actually living in it. So it takes a little bit of time to manifest. For instance, you put your order out into the universe and you believe with utter conviction, not hope, hope is for bitches, you believe in utter conviction that you are the multimillionaire, you have the successful business, you are changing lives, you have the body of your dreams and the wife of your dreams. You believe it with conviction. Now, just like a waiter coming to take your order at a restaurant, you tell the waiter, I'm gonna have the steak. And the waiter goes back to the kitchen. Before the waiter goes back to the kitchen, you ask the waiter again, where's my steak? Is it coming? And then the waiter gets back to the kitchen. The waiter realizes that 6 other people have put in orders before you, the kitchen is busy, and it takes a certain period of time to cook the steak to your liking. So you then go up to the kitchen and say, is my steak ready yet? Thinking, is my steak coming? You don't do that at a restaurant. You don't ask how many times your steak is coming. You don't know the variables in between. You don't know how busy the kitchen is. You don't know how many orders are in front of you. And you don't know how long it takes to cook it in a specific way. They're the masters of that craft. But you know the steak is coming. So why, you don't question it. But in reality, when you do the same thing, when you set a goal or you set the expectation of who you are, you keep constantly questioning yourself. It just keeps you separate from that identity. It keeps you separate from being that successful multimillionaire, person with the perfect partner, person with the perfect body, person with the perfect business. So believe with utter conviction in your thoughts, and it will bring forth everything you need into your reality when the time is right. But just like ordering the steak you believe that would come to you, just like turning a light on, you know you turn the light on, just like putting your goal out into the universe, know that it's yours and live in the end. And I promise you, if you take this approach, you will become, and not that you will become, you are the person that you've stated, because you are the creator of your reality. God lives within you. Energy, charged emotions with thoughts directed by the energy which God has given you, it manifests before you. Don't doubt it. It's happened before. Many of other people have used this knowledge. And in my own life, it's occurred the exact same way. Which brings me to our next lesson. Lesson 8, balance work and play. Yes, we must work towards the life of our dreams. We must work towards creating systems, habits, and rituals that bring forth the life that we seek, but you're going to experience burnout if you're constantly just working. And like I said, if the intention behind the work is starting to get negative, you need a timeout. And don't think more is better, as I've just stated. Understand that you are allowed to have time for play. Play is important because just like a child experiencing the world for the first time, they're so happy to see every new experience they get. And when you're creating your routines towards success, obviously you have to fit them within certain parameters, but you're allowed to have fun and you're allowed to add a little bit of spontaneous excitement into your day every day, so you're not living the exact same day. Make your day fun. Keep your childlike habits with you, and just keep parameters and limits on everything that you do in your day-to-day activities. If it's time to be childlike, great. If it's time to work, great. Don't feel guilty about either and either, because you're meant to enjoy the experience along the way. Now for me, like I said, I started gaming for my downtime. I started playing PlayStation, NBA 2K. I love to shoot some hoops. I even bought a Nintendo Switch to play Pokemon, because growing up I used to love playing Pokemon. And at the same time, I'm still creating content. I'm still building businesses. I'm still interacting with clients. I've created a system, as well as I meditate, I walk, and I enjoy life, and I'm so grateful just to be here. I've created a system that is constantly fun, spontaneous, and at the same time, systemized to bring me towards the life that I seek, and also allow me to enjoy the process at the same time. So please find a balance in your own life of work and play. And finally, the only way you can do that is with trust, which brings me to my last lesson of today. You have to believe in a higher power. Now, whether a higher power exists, whether it's God, Jesus Christ, Allah, Krishna, the Buddha, the universe, however it is, you have the choice to believe that you are protected and guided, or you have the choice that you are not. But which one serves you? Does it serve you to believe that you're just on a floating rock and anything random can happen? Or does it serve you to be like, I am protected, everything works out in my favor, and I'm loved and I'm abundantly blessed? Because in my own personal life, I've realized that the world is put together too perfectly. There are the perfect amount of oxygen in the air, hydrogen in the air. There's the perfect amount and harmony between creation, the flora, the fauna, the humans. Everything is in perfect harmony. There's even duality between high and low, positive, negative, cold and hot. Everything is in a fluid state and needs its opposite to know one is one and one is the other. Everything is so perfectly put together. And my whole life, whenever I've been scared or I've not known where to go, I've trusted that God would lead me and guide me there. I trusted that God would get me out of my addictions. God would get me out of my bad habits. That God would put me in the situations that I needed to be in, no matter how long it took. It could take years, but I knew God would get me there. And whether it's true or it's not, I've been put in all of these situations. I've been able to help thousands of people create beautiful businesses online and in person. I've been able to overcome all the traumas and all the issues in my life, and I've finally become a happy individual. And the only way I was able to do all of this was through trusting in my lowest moments that I was protected, trusted that I was there for a reason, and trusted that no matter what happens, it's always going to work out in my favor because I am a child of the Creator. So whether you don't or you do believe, at the end of the day, you have that choice. And the choice serves you to believe that you are protected, that you are abundantly blessed. And all of those thoughts anyway, as I was stating before on a scientific level, are positively emotionally charged. And it brings forth a better reality, as I've understood. At the end of the day, I'm doing this out of love, I'm doing this out of care, and I just want people to have a better insight into themselves, have inspiration to take that step forward, because I'm just some random dude on the internet that really likes his life and at one point really hated it. So I hope that you can find value in this for your own lives, and that you can move forward to becoming the person that you seek to be and level up your character to become the main individual in your own story. So thanks.